Great. Thank you, Reed. Thank you all for being here tonight. This took a lot of your time, and we appreciate it. I appreciate these other folks here because I'll tell you, as you've seen, these are really nice people. And we would be lucky to have any of them as our council representative. If I need a good attorney, I'm going to call Larry. If I need somebody to help take care of my kids on the health side, I'm going to call Susie. If I need somebody to fly to Europe, I'm calling Joe. And Brian's got some great ideas. In fact, he tutored our daughter who's on her way to Georgia Tech this fall. And so you've got good choices. I think the real clear definition, though, is from a visionary and leadership perspective, who has done the most things on a large-scale, well-rounded basis on the issues that most affect your quality of life. And I feel strongly that that is me, based on the body of work that I've done now for 20 years in Sandy Springs. And I want to touch on something that Brian brought up early on. He mentioned Chip Collins, and I don't think Chip's here tonight because he's probably at work. But there's been some inferences bounced around. Well, Chris just wants this job so he can get things approved for his developer buddies. Well, let me tell you two things. First of all, the types of things that are being done in Sandy Springs, I don't finance. We do not have a single apartment development on our books, nor will we. Those projects are much too large for us. We're a community bank, and that's not the sort of thing that we focus on. And I do believe that we're at the end of the apartment cycle. We may even be heading for a minor bust. So it's not something that I have any interest in financing. We also don't do the infill developments. I looked at my portfolio today. I don't have a house going in Sandy Springs. I don't have any lots going in Sandy Springs. So I don't have these, quote, developer buddies that I'm trying to take care of. So when Chip gave his endorsement, he did it based on his experience as a councilman and his lifelong experience as a resident of Sandy Springs, somebody who loves this community passionately. And he was apprehensive because he said, I'm not sure I want to get in the mix now. But he looked at each of the candidates. Chip and Larry worked together for 4 years when Larry was judge and Chip was on city council. So he's had close working experience. He knows Larry well. I don't know if he spent much time getting to know Brian or Susie, but I know he got to know Joe well and spent some time with him also. And at the end of the day, as a resident and as a former city council member, he had to make the decision, do I make an endorsement? Because no one knows like either he, Rusty, or Graham what it takes to be a District 3 city councilman. We are by far the most active and engaged district. We have 45 HOA associations. Some of the districts, I think, have less than 10. As Chip mentioned in his endorsement letter for me, the city manager sort of half-jokingly said he gets 10 times more email traffic from District 3 than any of our districts. This is a big and complex city, and we are a critical district as part of that city. We are the epicenter of the downtown of Sandy Springs. And Chip looked at it at the end of the day, and he said, based on the people that I know, and based on what I know about Chris, and have learned with working with him over the years, this is the guy who can do the job best for you all, which will be my bosses. I have one obligation, and that's to you. And it would be foolish for me as a successful community banker at Bank of Sandy Springs to do things that tick you off. I mean, you wouldn't come do business with me if I had just gone back on a promise and financed a 10-story apartment building. You wouldn't come open an account with my bank. Why in the world would I do things that would hurt me with you, my constituents, my friends, my neighbors, who Karen and I have been close to now for decades? That's just not how I operate. It's not how I intend to operate. I'm going to do this about 5 or 6 more years, and then we'll probably retire. And I want to make sure that we retire. When I retire, that Sandy Springs is a better place, and District 3 specifically is the best district in the city, and that our city is one of the finest communities, not just in the Southeast, but in the entire nation. So I would appreciate your support and would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.